Welcome back everybody. We're now on to step 4, which is to fit the braces. These come in the option pack as well, so let's just empty the contents. So we have lots of screws, washers, the band which holds your battery in place. What I've done is I've pre-assembled these braces because they are quite fiddly. As you can see, we have 3 parts to the brace. Let me just move the car forward a bit and you'll be able to see them. We have the right side and the left side, and they all go together in 3 separate pieces. So you've got your front braces, then you've got the battery holder braces, and then this little bar that goes on top, which is held with these 2 silver screws, allow you to move your battery weight position forward and back. So you've got lots more adjustment on the HR3 than you did on the original OE kit. So they all come with posts, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 aluminium posts which locate on the chassis. These 2 front posts you will need to spacer, which we've got the washers in there. You put 4 small spacers in between the base of the post and the chassis. This is to compensate for the brace being on top, which I'll talk to you about shortly. So let's get started by popping those braces into place. So we'll do one side first. The smaller of the 2 screws, these go on all of the posts that don't have a washer underneath of them. So mainly the back 4 posts don't have washers on them. It's only the front 2 either side that have spacers. So we'll put all those in first and locate those. Same again, don't need to be leaning on these screws, they just need to be nipped into place. So that's the first 4 done. Then the front 2, as you can see, they have got a gap. Now that gap is purely because the front bar, which we can tune the car by either leaving some of these screws out or taking the brace out totally to give more flex to the front of the car. So first things first is we'll put the screws, which are slightly longer, through the chassis, and then if I can grab the washers, put 4 washers over the top of the screw. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that can then be screwed into place. And if you can see that, it just spaces that post to keep that the same height as the side braces. So we'll crack on and do the front one as well. What I found is if you do the front one, if you take the post off, you can then pop the top screw in place once you've put the screw in the bottom with the washers. So we'll put the screw through the bottom and put the 4 washers over the top. This is a bit fiddly. I'm sure some of you guys will work out a much easier way of doing this. take your post, pop your post in place, and then screw, tighten that up from the bottom. Same again, just nip it in place, and then your countersunk M3x6 goes in the top and holds that in place. So we do the same on the other side. They're just mirror images of the one that we've just done. So we have 4 screws at the back, which are the shorter ones. 2, 3, on the side one. I think what we'll do for this one is we'll take the centre screw out and then put the screws through the chassis. Pop the washers on. Four in each one. And we pop that onto the bench, take the posts off. Probably easier because when you get the kits, your posts will be separate, so you'll be able to mount these posts onto the chassis first of all. I was just trying to save a bit of time on the video by pre-assembling some of this kit so it didn't drag on too far. So probably the easiest way is to mount these posts first, and then you can take the bar and pop it on the top. Oh, wrong way round. Pop it on the top. Last screw in the front. So what we found with the circuit racing with the hot rod is that a lot of the time with the basic OE car we had lots and lots of chassis flex, which meant the car just didn't really handle very well. It was very sort of grip rolly, should we say. It had a lot of chassis flex, and as the cars got faster and faster, the cars tended to just not handle very well. So we've put these braces on the GT12 car, and the GT12 car is phenomenal, really goes well. So we've done the same with the HR3. So these braces, you can take the front 2 screws out, which gives it a little bit more flex in low grip conditions. Same by taking the centre 2 screws out, and the back 2 screws, you can take those out totally. If you want the car to generate more front end, take all those out. As the grip comes up in the evening, we tend to put the braces back on and leave the centre 2 screws out, which will give you a little bit of intermediate flex. And then as the evening goes on and the grip comes, pop the final 2 screws in, and that will stiffen up the front end of the car. With the battery position, these 2 screws, you can release a little bit and you can move these side bars forward. So you can move the battery or the LiPo, depending on what motors you're running. Some of the clubs are running 1S with a 21.5 or a 17.5 brushless motor. So you put your LiPo in here and you can move your LiPo or battery 5mm further forward, and then just lock it in place on both sides. Battery goes in place and your band then goes across and is held in place on the over the top of it. So that's the side braces fitted. We'll pop the servo in. I've pre-done the servo. This is a 9016 core. We've put our linkages together, put a servo saver on, put our servo posts in position. There are so many different servos on the market. Now we've tried to make the car fit virtually all of the servos, but there's always going to be one that's never going to fit. This chassis I've got here, as you can see, has got one hole here and a slot. On all of the production cars, this is a slot and this is a slot. On the bars here, we've got a little nick out of one side because some of the servos have to go right over to the right hand side of the car, which means that this servo post was touching the bar. Most of the servos sit fairly central and you don't need to take anything away from here. So just for this video, it's shown the extremes. We've had to move it to one side. So the servo pops in place, is held into the chassis with 2 screws. In the production ones, obviously you're going to have a slot here, so it will allow you to move the servo position so you can get the servo saver in the center of the car. So second screw to hold the servo in position. And then track rods. These are open-ended track rod ends. With all of the kits we give the gripper silver ones, which have got a dome over the top, a little bit stronger for sort of low cost racing, should we say. There's a few beginners in this class, so we want to try and make the car as tough as possible. These are off my racing car, so they were to hand, so we're going to use it just for the video. But the gripper ones come in the kit. They literally go, pop them in place on both sides. And the front end is done. Just double check that everything moves freely and the steering is all nice and free either side. Same with the adjustment. Adjust so you've got one wheel straight either side. And we will now add the front bumper, the rear bumper and body mountings, and we're almost done. So front bumper, very straightforward. This is just a couple of parts. We've also have an addition. We've got some little chassis protectors which we're selling via the website. These are 3D printed. They just strengthen around the front part of the chassis. So if you do hit a bot dot or hit a wooden track marker, it's not going to damage the chassis. It breaks this part, which is a couple of pounds, rather than 15-20 pounds for a chassis. So that literally slides over the chassis, and you can see it protects the front of the chassis. We have two M3 by 25s. They go in through the front. Our foam bumper has some little pressed plastic inserts with an M3 nylock pressed into the top. They go through the bumper and then over the screws and securely mounted into place by just tightening them up. All you're trying to do is just locate the screws so they just come out the top of the nylock. Now that's securely locked into place. Then take your body posts. You can move your body posts on this car. You can have quite a way forward, or you can move it back 10 mil and have it a bit further. It depends on the length of the body shell that you're running. We run the kit shell, which is the VW Scirocco. Some people like to say it's a VW Golf, but it's loosely based on a Scirocco. So those two posts go in place. Like that. The body shell post set that comes in the kit comes with all of the fittings, body clips, pins to raise the body shell slightly. I'll show you that a little bit more on the back post set. The back posts are slightly shorter and come out like little exhaust pipes out the back. Now these, you have little pins that you put through the post, and then these little washers go over the post and then they clip onto that post, and they allow the body shell to move, and this positions with that little cap that goes over the top. So you've got two of those, two posts. These go onto the chassis, and you have the rear body post plate, so you can, it's got lots of holes in here. Same again, you can raise where you put the posts that come out the back to accommodate lots and lots of different styles of body shell. So we just mount this into place with a little M3. They go through there on both sides. And then once those are attached, we can then use the button head screws through the bottom two holes. So you've got the posts, so through the bottom two holes, and then we mount that to, these posts are exactly the same as your servo posts, so universally used on the car, cheap if you break them, about £1 for a pack. So if you do snap the body posts off the back, then it's not going to break the bank. So that's those two done. So we have a bracket like so with two exhaust pipes and a post. So same again, we have a protector which come in as an option if you wish. These are 3D printed. As the front one, it protects the chassis at the front. This one goes on and protects the rear. So that goes through there, your body bracket goes on, and securely mounts to the back of the car. So I hope you can see that. So we're almost done, apart from putting some wheels and tyres on which come in the kit. We normally run either a 32 and a 45 Shore front tyre. We have been playing around with lots of different grades. We found that there is a contact 40 Shore front with a blue line in the tyre. They're not glued and trued, so you'll have to glue these on. Fantastic on the front of this car with a 32 or 35 Shore rear tyre. Works really well on most circuits. Rear tyres about 49-50mm. Front tyres, we found the smaller you go, the better the car handles. So around the sort of 42mm, 43mm. They last forever and a day. They don't tend to wear out. So front tyres, you get a lot of life out of front tyres. Rear tyres, just the nature of no diff, they do wear out a little bit quicker. I hope the video has been informative and help you build your HR3. Enjoy it. If you've got any questions, then please feel free to drop me a message, drop me an email. Subscribe if you can to the channel. This also helps with videos, and I move away from paper rather than giving you reams and reams of instruction manuals. We've been doing these videos, they've gone down really well, and look forward to doing the next one. Thank you very much for tuning in, and enjoy your HR3.